Hey yo, what is up FPG fam? Further here. Now before we jump into the video, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of the video and the sponsor of the channel, GamerSupps. Now GamerSupps just came out with a brand new flavor called Titty Milk, and hold on, I understand I had the same hesitations, but listen, I can assure you this flavor tastes incredible. In my opinion, it tastes like pina colada, which is absolutely refreshing. So if you want to try this flavor out for yourself, I'll have a link in the description down below. Go ahead and click on that link and use code FurtherBeyondGaming at checkout. It will give you 10% off everything in the store. So go ahead and try it out and let me know what you guys think. Also, they have other flavors and you can combine them together and come up with some very interesting flavors for yourself. It's all organic caffeine, keto friendly, and tastes amazing. Go ahead and try it out. And while you're there, check out their merch. They have the absolute best feeling and quality shirts in the game. I promise you that. And they have the best designs in the game with their waifu shirts. Go ahead and check them out. It hugs you in all the right places. I can assure you of that as well. And while you're browsing and perusing the store, go ahead and check out their waifu cups as well. Collectibles, they are amazing, of great quality as well, but they look great and they are truly collectibles because once they're gone, especially the limited ones. So go ahead, check them out. If you get anything, use code FurtherBeyondGaming at checkout. It just supports the channel and it gives you a discount, so that way you're not paying full price. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the video. All right, once again, thank you for GamerSupps for sponsoring the channel and sponsoring this video. But let's talk about the topic at hand, and that is in relations to new simulacrums that are released or that their information gets leaked from CN to Global, and we get to see their numbers and their kit and people speculating on how good they're going to be in game. There's one topic that I want to speak about because I don't see anybody really speaking about it or enough people speaking about it, and that is when information is released about a new simulacrum that's set to debut, that people just take a look at really the raw numbers and the rebalances associated with it, and then they come up with their overall consensus on whether this said simulacrum is going to be viable or not. And I feel as if that's a flawed way to look at a simulacrum when they're about to debut within a game, because it fails to take into account the entirety of their kit, which I feel is incredibly important. And there are some prime examples that we can point to where this has been the case, where individuals take a look at their raw numbers and percentages and then base their thoughts and opinions on that said simulacrum based just solely on that, which I think is inherently bad to do, and not take into account the rest of their kit and what they're actually bringing to the table utility wise. And the prime example that I'm referring to is Ruby in this case. And the reason I bring up Ruby and why I believe she's a prime example is because if we go over to Ruby at this time, I think there was a large part of the community that was taking a look at the percentage and the raw numbers of Ruby that when they were leaked, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes, and people were taking a look at those numbers and saw how they were massively rebalanced, and then instantly thought that Ruby was not going to be viable in global, or that she was quote unquote nerfed to the ground. So at that point, they were then making a statement that Ruby is probably not worth going for because of that alone. But what they failed to realize is the entirety of Ruby's kit and everything that she's bringing to the table and how important that truly is, at least in my opinion. What makes Ruby so great is not just her damage numbers, because she can do damage even with the rebalances, but it's not just that. Ruby offers so much more, and that is within her kit, which I feel is very cohesive and very balanced. Now, a very stark contrast, and I mentioned this in the past as well, is a simulacrum like Cobalt B. So whenever Cobalt B's information was first released, we saw the shatter and the charge, we saw the rebalances and the differencing of numbers, and people thought that Cobalt B, including myself, was going to be pretty viable because of these changes and because of the raw numbers. What we failed to realize is that the entirety, Reza, thank you for the sub. Welcome to the FPG family. This reminded me, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and drop a like. It just helps out the channel, tell YouTube that the video is pretty decent, you kind of like it, and it's not terrible. Thank you so much for the support. Also, if you're new to the channel, like Reza, or if you haven't done it already, like Reza, go ahead and consider subscribing. Join the FPG fam. We are on our way to 40K. Thank you guys so much for all the support. But what I was stating is that with Cobalt B, what myself, until I did my first impressions and until I did my full in-depth review, is that with Cobalt B, her kit is just not that cohesive. Her kit is, in my opinion, not that balanced, and her kit doesn't offer that much outside of damage, which if you are only a simulacrum that's offering damage outside of the flame resonance, which I think you need more than just resonance in order to be a simulacrum that's offering tons of utility. If you're really just offering DPS and damage, I think it needs to be in the upper echelons. I think you need to be within the upper 5%, 2%, 1% of damage dealers if that's all you're going to be offering your team, and if that's all you're bringing to the table outside of shield breaking. But the problem is with flame teams, everybody can shield break, so that's kind of null and void. So at that point, you are really just here to be a damage dealer. But if you're not offering anything else outside of that, and if your damage is not within the upper 5 to 1%, then you're not really bringing a whole lot to the team, right? And that is the problem with Cobalt B. At least that is the problem that I have with Cobalt B, unless you have the advancements unlocked, which is, and now I'm hearing 5 stars and above. The 3 stars is not even all that great. So when it comes to SAKI FUWA, and what I'm trying to really get at and kind of round this whole video out, bring it full circle for you guys, is with SAKI FUWA, people have been looking at the quote-unquote leaks and the rebalances, and they've been taking a look at the raw numbers and the raw percentages and then making their decision based off of that, which is understandable. But what they fail to then take into account is the entirety of SAKI FUWA's kit and everything that she's bringing to the table. There is a lot going on within her kit, and I dare say SAKI FUWA has one of the more complex kits to debut within the game on the global side to this date. And because of that reason, if you're just basing your opinions and thoughts on just the raw numbers and percentages, I think you're doing yourself and maybe whoever you're speaking to a disservice, because you're not taking into account the utility and the possibility of the greatness of the kit of SAKI FUWA and everything that she's bringing to the table and how valuable that could be for a team. A prime example, like I mentioned, is Ruby, but another one that I could really point to that might be more applicable and is within the Frost team is Frigg. Upon receiving the early information about Frigg, and even upon her early release within the game, everybody was under the consensus. I shouldn't say everybody, let me rephrase that. Most individuals within the TOF community was under the consensus that Frigg was a bit underwhelming, especially in reference or relative to her counterpart on the CN side. And people were running with that narrative for quite some time until they did come around, because what happened is that the numbers were not there, but they weren't taking into account, once again, the entirety of her kit within her multi-slashes and within her skill. Once people saw how balanced her kit is and how synergistic it is and all the utility that it has within it, that is when people started to come around and realize that Frigg is actually a very strong simulacrum even to this day, and is a cornerstone and a very essential asset to the Frost team. And that is because her kit allows that to be the case. She comes with the Frost Resonance, she brings the damage, but she has infinite dodges. She also has the skill with the Frost Domain and being able to increase the shatter for your Frost weapons and increase the Frost weapons damage. So she is bringing support capabilities. And then if you take a look, what a lot of people don't do is also take into account traits. So Frigg's 4K trait giving hyper body, which is incredible. Also taking a look at advancements and how crucial that can be with some simulacrums. So they just fail to really look at the full picture, and they're only taking a look at fragments of the pictures, pixelated parts within the picture, and not the actual whole picture itself. And once again, I think that could just lead to being a detriment for most. So I just wanted to bring up the fact that with SAKI FUWA, what I'm going to be doing is, I believe, a pre-analysis video. I've been waiting for her to be released in the warehouse so I can take a look at the official information and the official numbers within game to see exactly what she's bringing to the table and everything that is within her kit, her trait, and things of that nature. I'm waiting for that to happen so I can do a pre-analysis video for SAKI FUWA. I'm not going to be doing it off of the information that is out there leaked. I'm going to be waiting until she's in the warehouse, do the pre-analysis video, and then continue with my normal content with the first impressions and then my in-depth review, giving you guys my honest thoughts and opinions on SAKI FUWA, and really go in depth with this character, because I have been excited for SAKI FUWA to be released in the game for quite some time. And if you know me, or if you've been on the channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a Frost main. So I'm super excited about this and to try her out in different team comps. And that's another thing. You really have to use the said simulacrum in game, have your hands-on experience to really come up with a definitive answer on them. You need to try them in different team comps. You need to try them with different matrices on to really get a full scope of their potential and what they're capable of. So I just wanted to really do this video as more of a discussion, kind of lay out my thoughts and my opinions on early information with the simulacrum, and people just being very definitive on their answers just based off of raw numbers and percentages, and not really taking into account the utility and everything else that they're bringing, traits, advancements, and things of that nature. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna get on out of here. Just a quick video. I hope you enjoyed and found it helpful, and be on the lookout for those first impressions, in-depth reviews, and post-release tier list of said simulacrum for SAKI FUWA. Super excited, cannot wait, and let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. I'm gonna get on out of here because I feel like I rambled on long enough, and see you in the next one. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. My name is Cody, but you can call me Further. I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.